we are in our community phase. We have a boarding community where we discuss tech-related things and show people how to utilize their skills and potential right now. And we're so glad to have everyone here. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to our speakers for joining us also. So glad to have you here. So this fireside chat, as from the invite, is from. So this fireside chat. Sorry, Joseph, could you mute your mic? Thank you very much. The fireside chat is an info session on breaking into tech, and we have two great speakers here who are going to show us the pathway into doing it and how they've done it and how we can also do it better. So we have Amira. Amira is a product designer, and we also have Umfon Obong. Please correct me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Um, Umfono
Yeah, that's
Obong.
correct. Hi.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Thank you so much. So Umfon is a community manager also, and she is going to. Both of them are going to take us to their experiences and how they've been able to um, break through the cluster of what tech can be, because we all know how it can look like, oh, there's no routes to getting into this space. So we have our two great speakers here, and yeah, they're going to take us through this. So I don't know if Amira and Ufonobong would like to give a bit of a background about themselves and their experience. Amira, you can go first, please.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Oyin. Hello, Ufon Ubong. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Right. Nice to meet you. My name is Amira. I'm a product designer, and I've been opportunity to work on diverse projects in diverse industries. And then to cut it short, I'm currently a product design manager at Ishe. It's nice meeting everyone and sharing or having this section with everyone. Thank you.
Okay, great. Hi, Amira. Great to meet you. And hi, everybody. It's great to be here. My name is Ifonobon Media. I currently work as the head of community and marketing at Face. Before now, I was the Friends of Figma regional lead for Africa. I've juggled a couple of skills to be able to get to where I am. I think at some point I did design. Um, Coding and various things actually. So yeah, in summary, I've juggled a lot of tech skills, but it's super great to be here.
Wow. We actually have professionals in the house. We are really lucky to have you both. So I think we'll so this is a fireside chat, and it's an open floor for everyone to discuss and drop their observation. So we have a series of questions that we'd like to start with. Uh, so I'm not sure if Amira or Ofonobrock have prepared any materials, or they would just like me to go into the question straight.
No, I think you can go into the question straight for me. Thank you.
Yeah, same here. You can go ahead with the questions. I don't have any materials.
Okay, that's fine. I will start with the first question that we have is, what inspired you to pursue a career in tech, and what keeps you motivated? Amira can go first.
All right. Good evening, everyone, once again. So, what inspired me to start a career in tech? So, previously, before now, I started with freelancing, right? I juggled through many skills that were more of like virtual assistant skills. So helping some clients setting up their booking process, right, for basically small businesses and individual brands, right. And I was doing that for I think a year, 2 years, right. And then moving on, I started designing on Canva basically. So as a VA, you have to like learn basic design skills, right? And then I noticed like clients ask me, "Oh, do you know how to make websites? Can you make a landing page for my business and this and that?" Right? And then I had to learn that too. So things like Shopify, making use of what you see is what you get, website tools like Wix, Squarespace and the likes. So I was using that to help, clients and business design their websites and their landing pages. And what really made me pursue a career in product design was the fact that when I was doing all of that, for me, it was not about like, oh, I know my designs were not like really great, of course, yeah, but what stood out for me is the fact that clients always come back, right? They always tell me, oh, I like this, you did this well. They always like give me great reviews, right? And then I started wondering, okay, so my design is turning into something good enough for your business for you to have come back. And then that was when I discovered like UX design and product design. And then I ventured into product design. Actually, I started with UX design, of course, right? So what really inspired me to pursue a career in UX design was the fact that I know that my design could help a business grow, right? At first, I was not concerned about probably the users were seeing this correctly or they're not saying this correctly. Is the fact that what I'm doing could basically help a business move from point A to point B in terms of revenue, in terms of growth, right? That was what made me pursue a career in UX design. And fast forward, with continuous learning and growth, I ventured into product design. So yeah, that would be it for me. And talking about what keeps me motivated, I think what keeps me motivated is the fact that tech space is always evolving, right? You always have the opportunities to learn. You really have to learn, right, to keep up with the tech space. So I think that's one thing that keeps me motivated. And also, like I said, seeing the fact that your work can contribute to improving user experience and probably solving complex challenges. Those are the things that really fuels my passion every day.
Hmm. I definitely relate to how you have to keep learning and relearning when it comes to tech. Thank you so much, Amira. I'd like to hear from you now.
Okay. Um. Hmm. Well, I wouldn't say something really. Oh, what's the word? Okay, so here's how it started. Joining tech, I didn't know, I did not know there was an industry called tech industry. It took more of knowing that there were various skills, right? So for me, I started off right out of secondary school, and how I did that, there was this 1 week game development boot camp in my city. I think it was being organized by one of the hubs around. So I joined, not because I really know what I wanted to do or not like I was really interested. I think one of my uncles just sent the flyer to me. Oh, you like playing games, right? I think you should be interested in something like this. I don't know what they do there, but I think it would be something of interest to you. So I went to the 1 week boot camp. Um, and by the end of 1 week, we were able to build a very simple mobile app game using a programming language called Lua. I don't think they really use that now again. So, I mean, by the end of that 1 week, I was so surprised because I honestly thought that games came from robots. Like, you just build phones and then it comes with games. I didn't know that people actually do that. People sit down to design games, people sit down to build the functionality and decide how it works. So having to learn that in a week, well, not everything. We kind of used a tutorial to build a game, and in the process of doing that, I added some other functionality. So I was just really happy that I could do that. So I decided to go in further to learn more, to see what else I could do with it. And that's when I discovered that there were other subs like programming languages that you can learn. You can learn mobile development, game development, Android, and all of that. So I started off by learning Android. Started learning Java. From Java, um, I wrote a couple of mobile apps, right? And I think shortly before Kotlin came out was when I stopped writing Java. And I mean, for some reason, I just wasn't interested. So I enrolled in the Hotels at Entry internship program, I think 3.0, 4.0, to go advance my Android skills. And that was when I discovered design. So discovering design, I'm like, oh, I didn't know that there was something called UX design. I always heard of graphics design. And for some reason, I wasn't so interested. So, I mean, I started doing design for a while, and after like 2 years, I started doing it professionally, and I was making money, and it was just so cute and so good to feel that I can actually sit down at home, make money, and just help people solve problems. But as that evolved, I started advocating for the tool I was using, Figma. I started, managing communities. I just saw myself naturally leading stuffs and managing people. So planning events, volunteering at events, doing stuff like it was just tilting towards community management. So um back in 2019, I I applied to Figma. I wanted to lead their community in Uyo because I'm based in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. So I did that for a while, and before you know it, they transitioned me into the regional role where I managed the regional community. So it was more like juggling many skills and then discovering that I have passion in managing people, in managing a community, in bringing people together. And over time, I discovered more things that I didn't even know I could do in community management. And from my experience, from the beginning up until that point, everything was just pointing towards community management. Anytime I join a team, like you could wake me up from sleep and ask me anything about community management. I could literally write a book about it. So that's how it evolved. And I started picking up interest to do community management more professionally. And of course, there is the SAPA of every Nigerian right now is kind of inspired by the fact that nobody wants to be broke. I want to make money, right? So that's also one of the things that really inspired me because I'm someone that loves to live the quality life and I'm someone that loves good things. So being able to do something that would help me afford that, was also one of the things I looked forward to. So for what keeps me motivated, I think it's seeing how I can use my skills to help a company grow. Because, I mean, for there to be a company or a product, obviously there was a problem, and you're using that product to solve a particular problem. And my role now as a community and marketing person is to be able to sell that product, right? And bring people together to love that product, to appreciate that product, and in turn advocate for that product. So I think what motivates me is the fact that I'm able to bring people together to build and to grow. Yeah, that's it. I hope I
Wow.
didn't take a long time.
No, actually, you really gave us the deep insights, and I think the insight I was able to get is that you don't start. You start from somewhere, right, before you get to your final destination. And it's not that you start with something and you just relax. You just have to keep doing different things, learning different things till you hack that one thing that works for you. Thank you so much for that, Umfon and Amira. So the next question would be, so before I continue, so ID is here. ID is our community manager at Ishe, and she put together these documents and this meeting together. So ID, would you like to say something before I continue?
Hi, Oyi. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. So sorry I'm late. Not my fault. Network issues. And thank you for holding the fort, Oyi. Well, I was away. I think you know where the call is at the moment, so you can just continue and pass me the mic when you can. Thank you.
All right, all right. So the next question would be, what skills or knowledge do you think are really essential for a beginner to learn in order to break into tech industry? So, Umfo, you can go next if you're up to it, please.
Okay. Um, hmm. Skills a beginner can learn. Well, I would say a lot too. I would say a lot, depending on what you want to go into. But the basic skills we need is communication. That's the first one. That's people don't see it as a skill. I think that's the first one because as a beginner, you are well, let me use this analogy. You know, you're like a blind person, looking for directions. And for you to be able to get that direction, you obviously need to speak out, to let someone know where you're currently at and what you need. So there's that communication skill, there's that networking skills. You need to be able to tell people what you're looking for because someone might come into the industry as a beginner and probably looking forward to do Android development. And over time, based on the things you've worked on, based on how you've interacted with people, the projects you've worked on, conversations you've been a part of, you now discover that, oh, you're more of a product marketer. For me, I never knew that I had it in me to be a manager until, I mean, it was just something that happened over time. And until I started getting that feedback and review from people that, that you can actually do this, instead of pursuing what you're pursuing. Because truly, I was struggling with design. I could actually sit down and give you a whole feedback on how the UX process is supposed to be, but my UI designs were so ugly, right? And companies nowadays just look for both, right? So being able to communicate with people, show them my progress is what also helped me get to where I am because they were constantly giving me feedback. So you need communication skills, you need networking skills. You don't just enter into someone's DM and say hello or hi and you wait for the person's response. You need to be able to go straight to the point, to ask people specific questions, ask them, targeted questions. Most people feel like if you enter into someone's DM and ask them a question, they're supposed to automatically start giving you attention. Well, it doesn't work like that. You know, for someone to start giving you attention to be able to help you, they must have seen some level of commitment from your side because you don't just reach out to somebody and say, oh, I need your help on this, and then you disappear. All right. So, as a beginner who needs help, obviously, you need to constantly reach out to whoever it is would be helpful in your journey. And then I need to constantly, reach out to people will be helpful in your journey. Ask them really specific questions. Ask them to appraise you. Ask them about things that you're working on. Show them things that you're working on. Ask for feedback. And just generally look out for people that are in the industry you're interested in. Right. So for me, the top two would be communication, would be networking, and then you also need that ability to learn and adapt. So as a newbie in tech, honestly, I'm yet to see anybody who they probably would hold your hand and show you the way around tech. Like almost everybody literally figured out things for themselves. So as someone who is looking at entering into tech, you also need to learn how to do things independently, learning independently, sourcing for courses independently, being able to provide solutions to your own problems before you reach out to another person. And I'm going to give a context to that. So while I was learning design, one of my mentors, Namso Kwana, I think I had an issue with one of the designs I was working on. I think it's something that had to do with documentation. And I reached out to him, say, oh, Namso, I'm having an issue with this stuff. He didn't answer me until like 2 weeks after. And then by the time he answered, he's like, have you found a solution yet? I said, no. He said, have you checked Google? So even after waiting for 2 weeks and him reaching out to me, he still did not give me an answer, right? Because he expected me to are taking things into my own hands, to go search for the solution. So as a newbie in tech, you also need to be able to provide solutions to your own problems, being able to identify those things, being able to make a research. Let it be that you have gotten to that brick wall and you're not able to do any other thing again, then you reach out to the people that will be helpful to you. And yeah, another thing, well, not necessarily a skill, but take it easy on yourself. in as much as you're learning these skills and trying to use that to build a career for yourself, take it easy on yourself, because no two journeys are the same. Yeah. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Umfong, for that very insightful explanation. Thank you so much. I'm sure we are all taking notes and learning from you. Amira, please, would like to get your insights on this question also?
All right. Thank you so much, Ufon Umbong, for that response. It was quite great. Yeah. So to add to what she has said, what skills or knowledge do you think are essential for a beginner to learn in order to break into the tech industry? Yeah. So, in my opinion, for beginners, is essential to develop a strong foundation in whatever choose field you've chosen, right? So, be it programming, data, and data design, whatever it is, you have to be able to learn the basics, because I think one of the problems we're having now as techies, if I'm to use that word, is the fact that so many people just want to come in and make money and not have a very good understanding of the basics, right? I've seen seniors that were like, oh, I need to go back and learn the basics. So, but then when you learn the basics, of course, it has a very great foundation. The house will be better in the long run, right? Learn the basics to be able to like develop a strong foundation. So I'm going to like narrow it down to product design. So if you're coming into UX or product design, you have to learn the few most important things: color theory, um excuse me, color, typography, spacing, all those basic things, all those things that you might look like, oh, it's not necessary, I can learn it later on, blah, blah. You have to learn it because it is very important. Those are the things you develop on, right? So apply that based on whatever career you're choosing, whether it's design, like I said, or data or programming, right? So at the same time, like Ofenbach said, you need to have a group mindset, because tech is always evolving. The Figma of yesterday is not the same as the Figma of today. The Photoshop of yesterday is not the same as today, right? Things are always evolving. Things are always like moving. So you need to move. So you need to have that group mindset. Now, another thing she talked on that I really like was having great soft skills, right? Which I'll not probably call them soft skills again, like Simon Sinek said. It's being called like human skills, because you need those skills to survive. Basically, it's as good as that. So as much as you really want to develop your art skills, those are the skills that probably UI, UX, data, spreadsheet, whatever, you also need to be able to work on your human skills. So problem solving skills is very important. There's no point you being a data analyst and then you can't use your data whatsoever to solve a problem for a business, right? Critical thinking, I think every career demands that. Being able to think critically, how going to move this from point A to point B, being adaptable. Communication, I think that one is constant aid. There's nothing to talk about that, right? Communication, teamwork, working with a team, which of course you're going to learn more or become better at when you start working with quite a number of people. But the most important thing is communication, problem solving, critical thinking, being able to adapt, because things are definitely going to change depending on your journey. So I think it's a whole spectrum, and then you have to pick it one after the other. So if you're picking something from your soft skills, you pick something from your hard skills, and then you learn on the go, because obviously you can't learn everything at once. You make your mistakes and then you relearn. So I think those are like the soft skills. Sorry, those are like the skills that I think would be essential for beginners to learn if they're breaking in.
Okay, thank you so much, Amira. Thank you so much, Umfong, for answering that question with so much insightful knowledge. I honestly think communication is very important in anything you're doing, even if it's not in tech or in any avenue that you're taking. Communication would always be important, and I'm glad that we've hammered hard on that. Thank you so much for answering those questions. So now the next one would be, what are some common misconceptions about the tech industry that you've encountered? Amira, you can go next. Misconceptions that you've heard about the tech industry.
Yeah, so for me, I've heard so many things, right? And there are some that are quite annoying and there are some that are not annoying, right? So I think I have about three that I would love to share. Um, the first one is that misconception of some test skill are easy to learn, right? Some tech skill are easy to break into, or some tech skill are just easy, right? And I've seen, I think this particular misconception is being promoted by tech content creators actually, right? And I seriously do not know why, right? Probably because the way or the naming, so or what we call those careers. So for instance, imagine someone telling Ufombong, right? After years of experiencing, your work is easy, you're probably not doing anything, right? I know how offended she would be. So I hate to hear or I hate to listen to those podcasts or those people that be like, oh, it's easy to um be a community manager, it's easy to be a product designer, it's easy to be what else? Product manager than a front-end developer. I don't know how, but it's just annoying to hear because one thing I know is irrespective of whatever career you want to go into tech, whether it's technical, non-technical, semi-technical, it requires some level of grit, it requires some level of consistency, it requires some level of showing up, probably not every single day, but definitely showing up because if you don't show up, you're not going to make money. You're not even going to progress, right? So it requires you putting in the work, like I said, irrespective of whatever career you are not going to have 3 years of experience or 5 years of experience if you don't put in 5 years of work or whatever. So you really, every tech career, in my own opinion or my belief, no opinion, requires some level of showing up and doing what you do well, right? So I think that's one misconception that I really want people to probably change their mind about. The next one would be sorry the next one would be when people say what's it called, tech industries for young people, right? That is not annoying, and as much as I understand that misconception, I was listening to a podcast by Tell You Babyface. I think that's like his recent podcast where a man was like, i I got to know how to use a computer at 40 years old, and now is like the top cybersecurity specialist in the US. And I'm like, that's so great. At 40 years old, you cannot use a computer. But then it's also so good if you can start early, right? I wish I started early, right? So, but then at the same time, anybody can come into tech, anybody can break into tech, irrespective of your age. I think there's a misconception around like, oh, it's Gen Zs that are doing tech, it's this kind of people that are doing tech. You have to be so genius before you start tech. You have to be this. No, I don't believe that. So the last one I'll touch on is the funny one. People that believe, oh, you're working in tech, you're doing an easy job, right? As long as they know that you are working around the computer like this, you're sitting behind the computer, they feel like, or you're working remotely, they feel like you are doing the easiest job on that. They feel like you're not doing work. So this occurs between me and my friend that are working physically and they are not into tech. So they're always like, oh, you're at home all day, you're always pressing your computer, you have it easy. I don't have it easy. I have mental breakdown. It's not easy working in front of a computer every day. I carry my computer like I can't have peace if I don't have my laptop with me. That's how crazy it is, right? The only place I don't carry my laptop to is markets, right? Like, so people that work remotely or they're sitting by their computers 24/7, they have mental break. Just because I don't carry box or I don't move plane or I don't carry every whatever or I don't show up to a particular work does not mean I'm doing something that is very easy. As long as it's bringing you money, you sweat. Though you might be sweating an AC, right? But you still sweat because you have to work for it. So I think those are like the three I'm going to touch on. So yeah, thank you.
That last one is really funny because there's no easy work. Thank you so much, Amira. If you can go next, please. Fun.
Yeah, thank you, Amira. Trust me, I can relate to all 3 points. And it's usually so annoying when someone tells me, "Oh, you don't really have where to go to. You're always indoors. You press your laptop. Like most people don't even understand that you being indoors and pressing your laptop 247, you're actually doing more work than an actual person that does a 9 to 5. But that's a story for another day. So one of the misconceptions that I have seen and have also experienced personally is the fact that people think that those in the tech industry are from space. They just feel like, this set of humans were created to be in the tech industry. They're super smart. They already know these things. They're probably born with these skills. But I'm here to debunk that, because no matter how dumb someone feel they a person might feel they are, you can actually learn and become one of the best software engineers in the world. Because I mean, there's this analogy I always use each time someone reaches out to me or wants to have a conversation with me about them feeling like, they don't think they can do this, they don't think, they can excel in a particular skill. And I always use this analogy. I mean, when your parents gave birth to you, you obviously started off as a baby. You went through different um growth processes, right? You got to that stage where you started going to school, started learning how to speak, started learning how to write. Now imagine a time in your life where you didn't even know how to write, and now you probably have one of the best handwritings, right? There's always that stage in someone's life where you don't know anything, but with constant learning, constant practice, and then with evolution, you're able to grow to that level where you probably look back and you're like, oh wow, I did that, right? So tech is not for people that have two heads. Anybody and everybody can be in the tech industry, right? It's just going to require a little more patience, because obviously people's progress and people's journey cannot be the same. I might go into the industry now and someone else might go into the industry and they excel faster than I do, or you know progress faster than I do. It doesn't mean that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. It just means that our journeys are different, right? So as someone, who has heard this misconception or has experienced it, I want you to know that you can actually do it. No matter how tough you think um that skill that you're trying to learn is, you can actually do it. Most people get shocked when they hear that I write code. Yes, I write code. I'm a back-end developer as well. So how did I do that? I'm a complete art student, right? I graduated with um a degree in Bachelor of Arts. So how did I move from being a complete art student to writing codes? So sometimes people just feel like all these things are impossible. It's not impossible. You just need practice and then you need patience. So another misconception that I have heard, well, not heard at this time, that have happened to me, is that tech is for guys. My darlings, tech is not for guys. I think in recent years, women have started coming out more and they're actually doing way better than most men, right? Because for me, um, when I joined the tech industry, and after that 1 week program that I did, I started learning Java. Each time I go to the hub, we're just two girls in the hub, like two girls every freaking time for like that entire year. And in a small city like you that didn't really have that exposure, you know, sometimes I'll feel so weird. Anytime I go to the hub and I see that the other girl is not around, I'll just probably hang around outside and wait for her to come before I go inside. And it kept happening even when I told my parents, officially, okay, I think I want to take this thing as a career. My dad told me, oh, this girl is like, you don't have any sense of direction, right? I thought you wanted to study law. Why are you suddenly interested in being a techie? Do you even know what it is? How are you going to survive in a male-dominated world? Right? And not just my dad. I got that from so many people. And as humans, there's a limit to what you can take, right? And when you constantly hear people say these things to you, you start feeling like, okay, maybe I'm not even cut out for this. Of course, men have dominated the industry, so how will I break in? I had my breakthrough. I've also had crazy experiences with, dealing with guys in the industry. Story for another day. It's just been a lot, right? Because being a lady in a male dominated industry, you're just facing these many challenges. I've had a client tell me before, this is why I like working with men, right? Simply because while working on his UX project, I suggested some things things, or I suggested some things I felt would make the products better, and I also gave him ideas or probably debunk some things. Because I mean, you're working on a financial platform and you want users to be able to see each other's dashboards. How does that even make sense? Right. So me countering that and telling him that I don't think I'm going to work on that because of the security and all. It's like, this is why I don't like working with women, yada yada yada. It was just a whole lot of things, right? And then a couple other experiences that I've had. So that misconception, please throw it in the bin. Anytime you hear someone saying that, just tell the person to go back and read or something or make your research. And then well, another thing I would say is that people mostly think that for you to be in tech, you must have gone to school, probably studied computer science or had an engineering degree. I have a degree in communication arts. I mean, I can decide to be a journalist, I can decide to be a writer or do whatever I want to do, but I'm in the tech industry and I'm doing well. So, how is it that I am doing well in the industry and I didn't study computer science, right? So if you're here and you've probably heard that somewhere that for you to succeed in the tech industry, you must have had a computer science degree or engineering degree. Well, that's not the case, because what employers, recruiters, what companies mostly look out for right these days are your skills, right? You can be an undergraduate, you can be an SSE holder, you can be a graduate, but then as long as you have the skills and you're able to implement it in your project, then you would have that success. And finally, another misconception that almost ruined my career was that tech is all about coding. So I compulsorily went into coding when I joined tech. I did the game development, I did the Android development. People just make it look like it's compulsorily code. Now there's community management, there's marketing, there's sales, and there's so many other things that you can do in tech. So you don't necessarily have to come in with the fear that, okay, I have to learn how to write codes before I succeed in tech. Majority, actually, all of these non-coding tech skills actually bring you cool cash. So yeah, do not have any fear. And yeah, I think that's all. Thank you.
Wow. I'm pretty sure that we've all learned that there's nothing that can stop you from entering your desired tech field, and then you have a lot of options. So this is where I take my bow as your host. Um, ID is going to take on the role of the host now. Everyone, welcome ID.
Thank you so much, Oyi. I just wish that I could sit back and hear you speak all day. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Idongesit Akpan. Most people call me ID, and I'm the community manager here at Isha School. So I'll just be continuing the questions that Oyi has been giving to our speakers. Thank you. I don't know what to call her, Bella or Fun, but thank you, Fun. Let me pronounce it correctly for Oyi. Thank you, Fun, and thank you, Amira, for taking on the questions. I love the way you tackled them. Very beautiful and very detailed as well. So the next question would be, um, young people want to get into tech. There are lots of resources online. Like there are lots of social media handles that have courses and resources about breaking into tech. There's lots of YouTube videos, a lot of articles. It's quite overwhelming. So how can a young person in Nigeria access resources and opportunities to learn and grow in tech? The keywords are learn and grow. So anyone can go first.
Hmm. All right. I think I'll go first. With that, thank you, ID. So nice to have you back. All right. So there's so many resources out there. How can you learn and grow? Now, I think the first thing is you really have to like identify what you actually want to do. Of course, that's the basics, right? And then when you're done, you have to find a way of shutting out the noise. Because I've noticed that that's one other problem that probably people that are trying to like break into tech, um That's one of the problems they face. So you have to find a way of shutting out the noise. Now, I'm not saying that you should not reach out to people. I'm not saying you should not talk to your friends or people that can help. But one thing I've noticed is social media might or might not be your friend when you start learning, because trust me, you're going to see a lot of, oh, learn this year, learn that year, we can do this for you, we can do that for you. This is good. I started like this, I didn't start like this, stop learning this. It's just like when you're trying to lose weight and your Instagram feed becomes like, oh, if you want to lose weight, don't run. If you want to lose weight, don't don't sit. If you want to lose weight, don't eat eggs, don't eat rice, right? So you have to find a way of, okay, what do I want to learn? And a very good start is speak to someone that has gone through the part you are trying to go through again. So someone that have had like a very good years of experience, probably 3 5 years, right? Speak to that person and ask the person for guide. Now, if you do not have anyone to guide you, just like me, there was no, pretty much nobody. I did have someone, but at least I did the work, right? Is picking out the platform, do your research. Another problem with people is they are not ready to actually sit down and do the work of basic research, not even the learning now. The research is a problem for a lot of people. So people are not ready to use Google the way they're supposed to use it. Nowadays, Gemini, they are not even ready to use Gemini to help you find the Google resources. So I'm like, if you cannot do the basic work of researching for things that can help you, you cannot learn. It's as simple as that. So find resources that can help you. There are popular ones that they will always be there. I think for coding is probably WW3 schools. I don't know. The major ones that we all know as Nigerians is probably Coursera, Udemy, and the likes, right? YouTube is always a go-to. So create a plan for yourself. That's my point here. So create a plan for yourself. Do you want to start with YouTube? Learn the basics on YouTube. And then if you're learning on YouTube, don't learn from everybody, please. Look for someone that is experienced in this field on YouTube and learn everything you need to learn from this person. Don't learn here and go to another YouTube channel and learn here. But like, you can't learn anything when you listen to 10 people. I'm not sure that's possible. So listen to people that I know that they are experts in this field, right? They are doing well in this field. They know their onions very well, and learn on their channel. If they have created a series, watch that series and make sure you understand it. Practice what you have learned. Now, if you're not going through the YouTube route, you want to go to Coursera, apply for financial aid. You're choosing a course in Google UX design. You can't afford to pay for it. There's financial aid, so you do not have any excuse actually. I think with financial aid, they have like renewed the policy, so you have to like probably pay 10% of the aid, right? So pay for it, which is still quite affordable. Pay for it and sit down with your courses and learn. Now, alongside, one thing about Coursera is you have to do some extra learning on your own, so you don't have a choice for you to learn. Do the extra work, right? Now, if you're going through Udemy, I really do not advise Udemy for anyone, because Udemy are quite short unless you actually find a course that it's really bulky and it's very comprehensive enough for you to be able to learn, right? So I don't really know much about Udemy, but Coursera is one good place to start, depending on your field, right? So if you're learning programming or whatever, it might be another route, which I don't know. But my point here is find a very good place to start. You don't need to learn from everywhere. So if you are using W3 School, if you're using Code Academy, probably you're a programmer. Make sure you're learning on it and then you're practicing whatever it is you're learning. Create a plan for yourself and stick with it and keep learning, right? Or if you're going through, and then as you're learning, another thing I would say is reach out to people, just like Unfa said. Reach out to people and don't reach out to everybody. I'm going to say that again. Don't reach out to everybody. So much of feedback can really be overwhelming if you're just starting. Sincerely. So reach out to people again that are good at their stuff. They know their onions already. Reach out to them probably as you're learning, you're documenting your journey, you're practicing HTML, CSS, JavaScript, whatever. You're building small website or landing pages or whatever. Show them your progress. You can't reach out to someone, to me, and tell me, oh, I need to do this or this. I started learning this, I started learning that. Okay, you've been learning. What do you have to show for it? You want someone to help you out, you really have to give the person a reason to actually help you out. Let's be real here, because nobody has the time to keep up with you, right? So reach out to people, ask them for feedback, right? It might take days before they respond, just like Rumple said, it might take weeks, but at least wait, get the response. And while you're waiting, keep putting in the work. So mentorship, um, your own self motivation is very important. I think that's the best resource you could give yourself. Self motivation, you don't have to wait for motivation for anyone if you really want to learn in tech, right? So self motivation, mentorship, looking for resources, creating a plan for yourself, sticking with your plan. Of course, things are going to happen. You're going to get tired, but finding a way to jump back on your feet. So those are like the few things I think would help you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amira. I totally agree with what you said, especially the parts where people don't like to do their own research. Because coming to meet someone to ask the person what tech skill should you do, it's just like you want to write jam and you're asking, oh, which course should I put in the uni? It's something you should do on your own. Except the person you're reaching out to is a tech clarity coach. That's a different scenario. So please let's learn to carry out a research, learn to do basic things by ourselves before we reach out to people as well. So Amira did justice to that question, and there was something she said, and I'm going to throw it to Bella, or who you know as Mufon, on this call. So, Bella, what do you think is the role of mentor? Please stop laughing. What do you think is the role of mentorship in career growth and development in tech? Does someone need a mentor immediately they start out their tech journey? At what point does someone need a mentor? Like, just let us know the role it plays. Thank you.
Okay, so I would say it's two ways. Yes, you need a mentor when you start, and no, you don't need a mentor when you start. So first off, it works on two categories of persons, right? And it also depends on who you're meeting to be your mentor. Now, let's say you are someone that, just got started in tech and you need help. I mean, obviously, you want to know the direction to take. Like Amira said, reach out to people, ask them. People that were there before you would better guide you on how to navigate your tech journey, right? Because they have done these things for years, they've made all the mistakes. So it's very easy for them to say, take this particular course. It has everything that you possibly need to know about something than for you to go and start taking so many courses on YouTube. So that's a mentor can help you do that, right? They can just help you put you on the right path, right? That's for people that need that initial direction. But then in the real sense, I mean, you can reach out to somebody and you want them to be your mentor, and then they ask you, what have you done? And you've not done anything. Some people want to see some form of effort from you before they agree to be your mentor, because that person you're looking up to as a mentor probably has another mentor who maybe has another mentor, right? Everybody, it's just like saying PA to PA to PA to PA. There's a mentor that is mentoring your mentor, that is mentoring another mentor, right? It keeps going like that up the food chain. So, and this person that you're looking at, bringing on board as your mentor probably has work to do, has projects to do, has their life. They need to balance up everything. And then you want them to be your mentor, and then you probably the mentor will mentor your mentor. Yes. And then, they have lots of things to do. So they need some, at that stage, you need to show them some form of effort and commitment, right? You need to prove to them that you are ready to be mentored. For most people, I mean, that works for me as well. If somebody reaches out to me for mentorship, first off, if you're just getting started in the industry, I'll try to understand where your interest lies. I cannot just tell you, go and do this. I know how many people got pissed that I was being rude by not um giving them direction or not telling them specific things to do. I'm like, see, I cannot tell you what to do, right? The least I can do for you is probably share a bunch of articles for you to go read up on these tech skills and choose the one that most appeals to you. So that's initial stage. If somebody reaches out, it's to try to get that person in the right direction. You've done your research, you've decided that you want to do product marketing. If I have some experience in product marketing, I could share a few resources with you. Or I could ask a friend, or if I have someone in my circle that can help out, right? And that's for the initial stage. And even after that, I won't immediately just pick you up as my mentee and start, mentoring you, guiding you. I need to see some form of commitment. How are you? You need to be serious in learning, because people come into the industry and they feel like someone needs to hold their hands to teach them how to navigate tech, or teach them how to design, or tell them, oh, for you to use maybe this color, or for you to use Figma, or for you to use this, you need to do, like, people just feel you need to hold your hands to do basically everything, and that's not the case, right? Because your mentor is busy. So it's more like, a two-way kind of thing. But for you to be able to grow, yes, you need your mentor, you need that guidance, because they have made these mistakes. So they will be the best people to tell you, no, this thing you're doing is wrong, or this thing you're doing is right. Right. So you need mentorship, but you don't need mentorship. At the initial stage of your career, what you need is someone that will tell you, once you've chosen your direct career path that you'd like to go through, what you need is someone that would probably provide learning resources to you, for you rather. And then after that, you carry on that learning process by yourself. And the next stage of your life where you need a mentor, where would be really helpful, is when you've started implementing the things that you've learned. That's when you actually need a mentor, and that's when they will be able to help you, give you proper feedback, and help you mold your career, mold your portfolio, and then just skyrocket everything from there. So yeah, I hope I answered that question.
Yes, you did, and you did it very well. And yeah, I can say that we have the same mindset about mentorship. I feel like before reaching out for a mentor, you should really have something that you are doing at hand, and you have proof of work as well, and also clarity on where you need to be. So if you're just joining the call, this is an info session for breaking into tech with Mfonobong Mondia and Amira Oyegoke. So in the comments is their LinkedIn profile. If you would like to connect with them professionally, you can find them on that platform. So I'm going to be throwing the next question to Amira. So Amira, over the years, you've evolved. The place where you are at in 2021 in your tech career is not where you are currently. And I would love for you to share with the house, how do you stay updated with trends in the industry, maybe in the design industry and tech in general? And
All right,
how
thanks.
important is it to stay updated?
Definitely, it's important to stay updated. I think I'll start with the last question because, like I said, you need to have a group mindset if you want to survive. Yeah, I'm using that word, survive, in the tech industry. So you have to learn constantly, right? So now staying up to date, so that involves a combination of so many things. So continuous learning is just let me say it's the biggest part, right? Other things that you could do involves like active participation in the tech community. But the most important one, right, is continuous learning. So how do I do that? Learning, I won't say learning every day, but at the same time, you have to know what you're doing and have like probably a plan on how you want to grow your skill sets in that particular career path, or in another career path, or you want to just grow your skill set. Either ways, right? So from reading blogs, industry blogs, good blogs, please, right? Because there's so many blogs out there. So reading good blogs that could help you, listening to good podcasts, please, not all these Instagram Ninja podcasts, but good podcasts that could really, really help you. There are a couple of few tech podcasts out there that really help you actually. Following social media channels, right? I really did not believe in that until I started following, I think, a particular marketing guy. I can't remember his name right now, right? And I think I started following him because funny enough, I started collaborating with my marketing team at Ishe, right? So that guy has really been helping me in my marketing knowledge, funny enough, right? So the kind of social media channel you follow would really affect you, right? And you have to be intentional about it. Then another thing is, like I said, improving your skill set. So you want to probably learn how to use Sigma better, or learn how to use Photoshop better, or you want to improve your JavaScript. You have to find a way, even if you're working full time or you're working part time, you have to be able to craft that alone time for yourself to be able to learn, right? And make sure that you are up to date and you keep at it, right? Another thing that really helps me is connecting with people, right? As much as I really don't go to network events, one thing I do is I like to connect with people on LinkedIn, especially for my Saturdays, right? I just connect with people. They don't have to be in my career space, they don't have to be product designers. Most times for me it's front-end engineers. So I connect with a lot of front-end engineers. We just speak how their work, what's really affecting them, this and that, new things that comes up, right? So connecting with people, exchanging ideas with professionals would also help you. And lastly, if you want to grow your skills, so definitely you don't have any other choice. You have to probably take online courses to deepen your knowledge of emerging technologies, things like AI. So recently, with this AI was everywhere, up and down, I had to learn, I think, prompt engineering recently. So that's one way of keeping up. So you have to like take courses, learn new things, and then just keep at it, because the tech is a fast moving landscape actually. So you really have to in order for you to be able to do all of these things, you have to be a curious person. I think that's one thing I've also learned over time. Because curiosity kills the cat, yes, I know, but if you're not curious enough, you're not going to learn. I think that's another thing that I've learned. You have to be able to question some things. Don't question too much though, but be able to question some things and be able to look for answer, right? Because I've always believed that's the way you learn, and also be able to like apply whatever it is you're learning. So don't just pack learning, don't just pack everything. You learn community management today, you go and learn front-end developer tomorrow, or you learn skills, so many skills up and down, and then you're not able to apply this skill, or you don't even know what's up with the skill, right? It's not just about getting the certificate, it's about getting the knowledge, right, and using that knowledge or applying the knowledge. So yeah, I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, you have. Thank you so much, Amira. That was well responded to. I don't know if Bella has something to add to what you've said.
I think she has done justice to the question.
Okay, no problem. That's fine. I thought as much. So in our community, when we get new people join in, I always ask them their expectations from the community. And I'm not I would say most of the responses will be like, I want to get into tech, and I want this community to provide clarity. I want to break into tech, and I want to understand how this thing works. And I think this event is really good for people that have asked that kind of question. And this is going to prompt my next question. What advice would you give to someone who wants to transition into a tech career, but they don't know where to start? Like we have mentioned before, there are lots of resources on the internet. It's overwhelming. Everybody is positioning tech as a get quick rich scheme. Start this month, have dollars by December, and all of that. So, how can someone transition? Bella, Amira.
Okay. I think I'll go first. Okay, so first off, I would say know how to do your research, because you can't obviously transition into any tech skill without necessarily knowing if that's what you really want to do. Right, so know how to do your research, read about the tech skills, the different tech skills, and what you need to be able to excel in that role. So like you probably read about product marketing, backend development, maybe different programming languages and stuff like that, right? You need to figure out which one appeals to you the most. Because some people are just naturally good with all these calculations and stuff, and you probably just want to do coding, you just want to be in the technical aspect of it. Some people don't want to be in the technical aspect of it. So first off, learn how to do your research, identify what you really want to do, because obviously you're researching to identify where your interests lie. So do your research, identify your what you're interested in, and then start learning the basics. You don't necessarily need to, I mean, there are lots of resources out there online, and most of those things are sterile, right? What I always say is, if you're looking out for resources to learn with, try to search with intent. So let's say you want to learn UX design, you can maybe search with specific year, between 2020 to 2024. So it kind of gives you an updated list of some resources that you can go through, right? Like Amira said, pick a particular channel. You don't have to jump up and down looking for, because creators will create content. They are looking for the traffic, they're looking for the money, right? It doesn't mean that all of those content is what you should consume, right? So search for a particular creator. I mean, you can ask someone who is already in the industry, you can reach out to someone who was already there, ask for help, ask for some guidance, what resources can I take, and they'll be able to point you in the direction. But if you don't have that opportunity, you can just go on these learning platforms online and search for what you want to learn. Product design, you're going to see a full-blown course, and you'll be able to do it, right? Another thing that would also help you break into the industry faster is to join communities. Community has been um um a very important thing that has helped me grow in my career. I don't think I've really, like, 80% of the opportunities that I've had came from the community. My first gig that paid me in dollars, and I am not even joking, came from community, right? Because of referrals. So joining a community will not also fast track your learning process. It will prove to people that you're actually learning and you know your onions. So if there's any opportunity, someone might just quickly refer you, as opposed to looking for someone outside, right? Because you have been contributing. And then something else that would also help you, continuous learning, right? You're learning, you're building your portfolio. Most people feel like, as you're breaking into tech, probably get a mentor, probably get a course, learn until the end, build a portfolio before you start looking for jobs. That is not the case. You learn as you go. Take on challenges, join competitions. It doesn't matter if you win or not, but the fact that you have that experience, it's really going to help you, right? So continuous learning is what will help you evolve, because yes, you will learn those things in the courses that you're enrolling. You're going to read those articles, and it makes so much sense. You probably feel like a genius after learning those things, but applying it in real life, you discover that you know you can only do probably one third. Like, there's still a whole bunch of things that you need to do, which you have to learn while working on real life projects, right? So yeah, I think that's it. The last thing I would probably add is for you to constantly work on real life projects. It doesn't necessarily have to be paid. I still remember back then when I started, and then I have to work on projects. I would volunteer. I would probably get the worst kinds of pays, just to be able to have a live project on my portfolio. It's that initial stage. Do not listen to anybody that says, oh, get into tech, start earning money immediately, or start earning the dollars immediately. Most people come with that mindset, and they feel that as soon as they join and they start learning, that is it. The money is supposed to start coming. That's not the case. I mean, it happens, it works for most people, but it doesn't work for everybody, right? So just carry that mindset that if it doesn't come, you have to do what it takes for you to be able to get to that point where you start making money. So I mean, you can start working on projects, you can volunteer to work on projects, you can pitch your skills to companies. Being able to build that portfolio of live projects, would get you jobs faster and get you projects faster, because by the time a recruiter gets to you, they see that you already have some level of um experience. You've already worked in a team, you've collaborated with someone on a project, so it's very easy for them to hire you even with your 1 year of experience, as opposed to someone who has been probably solo designing for years and doesn't really have that team collaboration or team experience. So yeah, those are the few things that um I have to say to that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bella. If I want to repeat what you've said in bullet points, you made mention of research, You made mention of community, and you also made mention of working with a team. Actually, I would advise someone starting out their tech career not to go freelance. I know that there might be some oppositions in their house, but please try to work with a team, because it's a team that you get to test your problem solving skills, your communication and collaboration skills as well. So yeah, thank you so much, Bella, for taking that question. So I believe you did justice to the rest to the question, and I will throw the next question to Amira, which is challenges you faced as a beginner in tech and how you overcame them. I believe that when you started your tech journey, there were some hurdles, but here you are now. You're glowing and you're doing a great job. So please let us know how you overcame the challenges you faced then.
Heidi, there always be challenges, right? But yeah, there'll always be challenges, right? As long as you're working in tech, but as long as you're working, there'll always be challenges, right? So when I started out, I think there's this common challenge that pretty much everybody faced, right? And it's imposter syndrome. Tada. So the issue is I was always feeling I think it was social media effect, right? As much as I would say it's probably probably gingered me or whatever, it's made me question so many things like, oh, you're not good enough, you're not doing enough. It's not like being good enough, it's like doing enough. So when you see like, oh, not like people I started with, because I'm just the kind of person that I don't compare myself with people I started with or not started with, but when I see people post their work on social media, I'm always like, why am I still here? Why am I still at section A? Why others are probably in section F? What's happening? Right. So that was the problem with me. So, or that was challenge I faced. So imposter syndrome. And the way I handled that was I started celebrating the small wins. So those things that another person would think, oh, it's very little. Why are you celebrating the fact that you learned topography? Why are you celebrating the fact that you learned how to use color? Well, that's nothing to celebrate about. So I started celebrating those little things, and it really helped me. Like it gingered me to probably learn more and want to do more, because I'm always looking for. And I always like one thing I did when I started out, when I was as a beginner, was I recorded my celebratory moments. Anytime Snapchat reminds me of my celebration moments, if it looks, I don't know, I don't want to say it looks stupid, right? But at the same time, I felt like that was really, really important in my journey, right? Making videos, like anytime I finish learning something I never thought I would learn, right? I'll just open my Snapchat and I'll make a video and I'll clap for myself, right? That really pushed me. So one thing I would advise someone, or if you're facing having that kind of challenges, learn how to celebrate yourself. As much as it might sound stupid that you are celebrating that the fact that you are learning something very small, it's really going to help you in the long run. Because I'm always looking. No, I don't do Snapchat videos anymore. I don't record anything. There's nothing to record. But at first, I was always looking forward to, oh, when is I going to record my next Snapchat video and clap for myself, right? So learn how to celebrate those small wins. Please learn how to do it. Your journey is always going to be different from whosoever's journey. I don't care if you're a twin or you're starting with your friend. Your journey, if you listen to Unfon's story, right? Our journey is, if our journey has a lot of waves up and down, up and down. Imagine someone transitioning from point A to another career. Like she has gone through literally three, four, five different careers that someone could settle into before coming into CM, community management, right? So, and then when I talked about my own journey, it was like from VA, freelancing, website designing, and then straight into UX. So your journey is always going to be different, right? It doesn't matter that, oh, me and this person, we are chasing front end engineering. This person's journey is always going to be different from the other person's journey. So learn how to celebrate those small wins as you learn and as you grow. Another thing or another challenge I faced was what other one? I think that's like my major challenge was the fact that another thing was I was always hmm, I don't want to say I was always tired, not tired, but I was always like drained, probably mentally drained. And that happens when I was not recognizing the fact that I needed to give myself the time, right? Or be able to accept that this is how I learn, this is how my own learning journey is, right? This is the pace at which I can learn. So what I'm trying to say is, now if you put ID and Ofan in the same room, right, they are going to have different learning pace. Both of them are community manager. For instance, both of them might be CM with 5 years of experience, but then the way they learn is going to be different, right? So one thing is, when I started, I was at a point when I was feeling that imposter syndrome. I would just go like that. I would just like go straight up. I'm on Figma for like 5 days straight up. I'm learning this for like 10 days straight up. No rest, nothing, just me, my laptop, eating. And at the end of the day, I would always break down. And when I do break down, I could break down for like 5 days. So there's no point you breaking down for 5 days after working for 5 days. It doesn't make any sense. So I have to like come back and call myself back and say, okay, this is the way you learn. This is, just be real with yourself, right? This is your learning piece. You don't have to do it so hard. Just understand and accept that this is the way you learn. Fine, there are times that you really have to push yourself and you don't have to be gentle with yourself. But at the same time, there are times you have to realize that this is the way I catch up with things. I can't compare my brain with Heidi's brain. Both of us are brilliant ladies, but this is the way Amira learns, and then she has to accept it and adapt to it, and at the same time use it as a strength and not see it as a weakness. So those are like the two major challenges I faced. And yeah, I think that was how I was able to resolve it. I still have imposter syndrome. I think pretty much everybody does. If you keep learning, you always want to grow. So I think imposter syndrome is imposter syndrome is something that you probably always feel, but at the same time it gets better as you grow actually. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Amira, and I'm glad you were able to take on that question very. So I believe the last question I have here is something that many people are eager to hear the response. And before I say that, I'm going to let the audience know that if they have any question, please write it out. You can even write it out in the chat box, or you hold it till we start to take questions. But please, you're going to ask our speakers questions. Like, I brought in two powerful ladies, so you're not going to let them leave this place without you drilling them. So the last question here is, what opportunities or initiatives exist in Nigeria for young people to get involved in the tech industry? I would love to hear responses from both of you, but Bella should go first.
Okay, so well, in terms of opportunities, I would say you should not just look out for free opportunities, because people think that in the way to success, you have to just get access to these free things. Anytime there's a giveaway, they are there. So I would probably divide this into two. So we have the free ones, right? There is the hair changing internship. I mean, I'm a graduate from there, so I know what it did for me as well. It kind of drills you with the skills that you'll have to become, a pro, basically. So there's hair changing internship. Communities also have boot camps and mentorship programs, right? Like, for instance, last year there was one we did at Friends of Figma Africa, where we had this um, design boot camp that lasted for 3 months, which had cut across UX design and research. So joining communities that have most of these interest programs, those are actually opportunities that you can plug into. And there are also initiatives, like there is Next Scale by Adora, there is She Code Africa. They do share lots of scholarships to programs that you can learn. There is also I think Cybersecurity Foundation, something like that. Linux Foundation as well. They do share resources. Like, all I'm trying to say is that there are various organizations that share resources, that share scholarship opportunities that you can benefit from. And then there are also the paid ones. like Old School Africa. They have paid programs. There is Geneza School of Design as well. All those ones are actually based in Nigeria, so you don't even need to pay an exorbitant amount of money, to be able to learn a particular skill. So there are two ways. So what I would say, following communities, because you do have all these scholarships, you have all these postings, and then also actually paying money to enroll in some courses.
All right, thank you for sharing, Bella. Sincerely appreciate. Amira, how about you? I know what you're going to say, but just let us know.
What am I going to say? Um, okay, opportunities or initiatives that exist in Nigeria for young people. Homo, this is Nigeria. Let's be real, right? Thanks to Umfan, I really appreciate the response she gave. Right, she has listed pretty much every one of them that I knew. Geneva School of Design, cybersecurity, DigiGirls for cybersecurity, the female program. There's so many free ones, right? There's HNG, although I never graduated, but I joined, right? So if you want to go through the free route, there's so many of them, just like Unfo listed, that you could, look up for and join their programs, join their Slack channel too. Don't just like join the program. Um Try to engage in their Slack channels, right? They do post opportunities, they do talk about opportunities, especially internship opportunities, especially if they're just starting out. You might be lucky to get one of those, or even their scholarship, right? And some of them host is it Akatis, right? So that is one part. Another part is if you're going through if you're yeah, you're not the only one. If you're going through the free route, the problem might be, or let me use my case, right? The case or the reason why I didn't graduate was because the pace was not pacing. So the pace of that program was not in line with my pace, right? So I think I'm more of the kind of person that likes to learn. When I say I want to learn something, I want to learn it. And I don't like being drawn back by like a set of people that asking question or setting the class to next week and not coming up next week. Like I don't like that kind of situation. That's one reason why I never graduated from HNG, right? So it doesn't work for me. And I started like taking paid things more seriously, right? Because it works for me. I do what I want to do at the time I want to do it and when I need to do it. And it really works, right? But at the same time, when I was starting out, I remember like I have a paid class. I took a number of paid classes, entry level, bootcamp by Nabel Harmony, and I was taking Google course, and at the same time, I was going to start for HNG. So I shall know that I have to learn, right? But at the same time, I know that I have something paid going on and I have something free going on. Either ways, the whole point here is to be able to grab something from either of these. By the end of the day, I had to draw for HNG because the pace was really slow for me. So identify what works for you. Find an initiative, but you really have to be careful about, you know, whatever it is you're joining or wherever it is you're joining, because the fact that if it is free you cannot control it, you have to be patient, and if you're not patient, it's not your thing, then you have to take matters into your own hands. And if you want to grow, really, you really have to learn how to take more matters into your own hand than being dependent on something that is free. So I think other opportunities that might be open, I'm hearing of this MTT program by government. I don't know how open it is for all the states in Nigeria. I don't know what's up with that program, but I heard they give out laptops and probably programs for people that are interested in coming into tech, right? Like I said, I don't know how much it is open for everybody in the country, right? But most importantly, apart from all these initiatives, my advice would be don't depend so much on it. Depend so much on yourself, because you could get so much from yourself than those initiatives. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Bella. Thank you so much, Amira. Both of you have shared various platform and places that people can learn from. And yeah, this is the point where I will talk about eShare School. So eShare School is an online learning platform that offers operational and technical courses to young Africans. We have School of Software and Development, School of Data Science and AI, School of IT Administration and Security, and School of Business management. So currently, classes aren't ongoing. We're in the relaunch phase, but our community is active, and if you're interested, please join the community if you aren't in it at the moment. And if you're in the community, please and please don't be quiet. Try to engage, and yeah, we'll notify you when we launch. So we're beginning to have questions pouring in from Ifoma Chuku. Yeah, and if you have any question, please, you'd like to ask any of our guests, you can request for the mic or type it in the comment section. So I'll read Ifoma's question. The question I have is, how do you manage your work and social life? I'm sorry for the laugh. How do you manage your work and social life, relationships and career? What's the balance? Before I pass the mic, let me just say for my end though, there's no balance, but it is well. Amira, you laughed. Do you want to take that question?
Sorry, the question is, how do you balance work, career, relationship, social media? Hmm.
Social life. Did she say social media?
Oh, social life. Okay, if
Social
it's
life.
about social life, I think you're asking the wrong person. I don't have social life, unfortunately. Right? The only social life I have is going out to buy something. Right. So I might not be the right person to talk about social life. But apart from that, right, balancing relationship, family, career, your work. I think it takes being intentional, really, right? As much as, yeah, there's no perfect balance. You can't attain that level of like perfection, like, oh, I'm so perfect at balancing all of these things. It takes being intentional about, oh, this is the time I am working, right? So let's say, for instance, let's be practical. You work 9 to 5. So I'm going to be in real essence, I'm going to be using different kind of relationships. Your family is here, that's your nuclear family. And let's say you have a relationship you're nurturing, right? With a guy or a lady, whatever, and then you have your career, right? What else? Let's add the social life to it. Right. So you work 9 to 5. If you want to eat, you have to work 9 to 5, right? Now, forget about the fact that money is coming in from anywhere. I'm only focusing on the fact that your money or the way you feed comes from your 9 to 5, right? So you have to go to work 9 to 5 every day, Monday to Friday, right? You don't have a choice unless you don't want to eat, right? Now, your family understands that, your boyfriend understands that, your social life will have to understand that, because you cannot go to club or you cannot go to an event during your work hours. Right now, being intentional now comes in at, okay, um I work 9 to 5, and I really have to talk to my family probably on Monday evening, or Monday can be so hectic. Monday is hectic for me, or Tuesday evening. Like yesterday, for instance, I took time to call my mom, and then we spoke at length, right, for like 30 minutes, and I connected with my siblings and all of that. That is me being intentional about calling out my family, because I don't know. Of course, I know when it's I'll call them, but it's definitely not Mondays, right? So being intentional about, oh, my mom came to my mind. I really have to call this woman, or I really have to call my dad. I really have to check up on my sibling. Now, same thing goes with if you're not in a relationship with your man, you have to be intentional about it too. As much as you work, you also need to consider the work schedule of the other person at the other end. So you both need to reach a balance. So is there a time we need to probably leave everything aside, go for a date, probably twice in a month or once in a month? Right, you have to be very intentional about it. Now, there will be some months whereby things will flop and nobody will be available. You have to not take it too personal. It's normal, right? Like I said, you have to consider the schedule of the other person. Now your own social life is there. As much as I don't know much about social life, but then you have to find a time to connect up with your friends. So if it's something, for me, the people I talk to that are my friends, they are my friends, but they have talked to work friends. But any friend that I have now is work that we shall end up. So I check up on them. Not like I check up on them, but there's a reason to go back to their WhatsApp DM every single day to talk about, oh, this happens today. What's up? How are you doing? At the end of the day, we have like quick WhatsApp call, 30 minutes, 1 hour. I might be doing the call and cooking at the same time. Right. I know I'm still going to have another call with a friend of mine tonight while I'm still cooking. So that's the way like I catch up without losing on, oh, you didn't check up on me. You, so why didn't you check up on me? I mean, we are not fighting. It's not like a game. Yeah. If I don't check up on you, check up, I might be dying. Check up on me too. Right. But at the same time, it's so easy to tell people you don't check up on me, and they might be right. So that's why I said intentionality is very important when it comes to dealing with relationship and dealing with work. At the same time, you have to remember that there's your career there. So it's not just about you going to work 9 to 5. You also need to build something. I remember before talking about building your portfolio or something around that. So you're not just working, right? Especially if you're in tech, you're not just working 9 to 5. You are working 24/7. I'm sorry, right? You're working, especially depending on the career field you are currently, you're working 24/7 because you really like, you're probably thinking about, oh, what's the next thing I'm designing? Oh, I saw this design. Oh, I have this idea. I have to jot this down. Oh, I need to do this later, but then I need to schedule. Like, you are building a career, so you have to factor in that time to do something for yourself, and probably that will be your Saturdays, right? I like to do that on Saturday mornings. Anytime I wake up, 6 a.m. Saturday, I try to do all these basic things in my Saturdays, right? Just so I know that, okay, by Saturday evening, I might want to take a stroll, or someone might be calling me to chill out. So I'm making time for my friends. So it's being intentional, basically, and knowing you can't have a perfect schedule. Please, you cannot. Especially if you're a lady, because so many people just, your hormone will affect you. You have to factor in your hormone too, right? You have to factor the fact that you're a lady. You have to factor the fact that your anger. You have to factor so many things in, right? But it takes like being intentional and being real with yourself and showing up at whatever you need to do. Yeah, that would be it from me.
Thank you so much, Amira. You were so honest with that, because I didn't want it to be like I gave a biased response to say, social life, what is that? How does it taste? Thank you so much. But please, if you have a social life, you can maintain it. Like Amira said, the key word there is intentionality. So I would not want to make assumptions for Bella, but I would love to hear her thoughts about balancing work as someone in tech with social life.
Hmm. Sorry for the sigh. It's not easy. Okay, so there's really nothing like a balancing. Really, it's just about intentionality. I love that word that Amira used. It's about intentionality. One thing you need to understand is that no matter how hardworking you are in this life, if anything happens or flops, right, and maybe you fall sick or something happens to you, or maybe someone gives a bad report about you and you end up losing your job, work is going to continue, life is going to continue, right? So that's what I use to give myself that benefit of doubt, because I work too hard. But why is it that when it's time for me to have fun or hang out with my friends, or just to relax, see a movie, can't I sit and binge watch Netflix? Sometimes I just think about all these things and I'm like, but Bella, you know that if you fall sick today, they'll definitely find someone to replace you. If something happens to you, they'll definitely find someone to replace you, right? So I am a great advocate of live in the moment, right? In as much as there is no direct way of saying, oh, this is what you're supposed to do to manage your life or balance life, I'm a great advocate of just live in the moment, right? If you're working 8 to 5, ensure that you have a very productive day at work. You put in all you need to put in to have a good day at work. Now when you leave work, the remaining hours, it depends, it's totally up to you on how you want to use that. You want to hang out with your friends, or you want to speak to your friends, or you want to call family, or you have visitations to make, or you just want to stay indoors, or maybe go on a solo date, or whatever it is. you know you are the one to create time to do those things. I think Idris asked a question like sometime last week on Twitter, and it's like, as a developer, how do you, manage to work and also um not get stressed out? I answered though, I said, see, when it has to do with work, I work, but once the time where I'm supposed to rest comes, trust me, I am going to rest. I'll probably go on a trip, staycation, or go on a spa date or something. Anything that makes me happy at that time, even if it's for me to stay back home and sleep all day and relax, and just watch movie or scroll through social media, whatever it is that makes me happy at that point, I'm going to do it. Right. So there's really nothing or no standard way of saying, um this is how to balance relationships and career. For your relationships, for me, how I manage relationships, I check in on my friends as much as I can. So there's something I do. I have a list of people. I have a list of people. I mean, as funny as this might sound, it's what I do, and I'm not ashamed to talk about it. I have a list of friends, right? Like, I have acquaintances, I have friends, I have people that I connect with, right? And I have kind of categorized them. So there are people that I obviously talk to on a daily basis. There are people that I talk to maybe once a week or once a month. There are people that I just reach out to once, right? So I kind of have this list, of all my acquaintances, and probably set a reminder, because trust me, with work and everything, I tend to forget. So I set a reminder, on days, specific dates or times that I will need to reach out. So when that day comes, I just must reach out to everybody, right? That's if you've not reached out before then. Like Amira said, if you've not heard from me, reach out to me. I might be dying, I might be looking for help, but if they don't reach out to me before that time, I usually have this list. So when that day comes, I just reach out to everybody, depending on the kind of relationship I have with that person. How are you doing? How is work? I just wanted to catch up with you. And of course, most of them would respond, most of them would not respond. I mean, humans will always be humans, right? So it's just to kind of figure out, for me, that's what works for me. And me and my friends, we kind of have this. I mean, initially we used to quarrel a lot because you're not calling me, I'm not calling you, we're not talking again. And me, I'm a very sensitive person. I also have sensitive friends as well, right? So, but right now we've kind of come to that agreement that if you don't hear from me, just no say you don't choke, But when we eventually get to talk, we just talk as if we've been talking every time. So it's just about you figuring out what works for you exactly. Do I have a social life? I honestly don't know. I would say I am in between being an introvert and being an extrovert. I can be really extroverted with people around me, but meeting me for the first time, you can swear that I don't know how to talk. That's that's how it is for me. So I wouldn't say I really have a social life. I do that once in a while, so it's not something that really affects me. So look within yourself as a person, the things you enjoy doing, and just try to find that balance. And always remember that if anything happens to you, darling, your work will continue. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Thank you for sharing your TED talk with us. Please, but for that last line, I know that yes, if anything happens to you, work will continue. But please, for those that are listening to Bella, please, it doesn't mean you should ghost your employers or your team members. Try to communicate with them. If you're feeling low, like let's say sometimes I don't feel too good, I reach out to my line manager, which is Oyin, and tell Oyin that, oh, I'm going through this and this, I am not going to be so stable today. So just communicate so everybody knows that okay, they should not expect too much from you at work for the day or for the week or whatever time frame. So at this point, I'm going through the chat and I've seen, okay, there's a question here, and this question is really, really valid. How do I convince my parents to support my tech career as a beginner? And my dear, I would say I will put in my prayers, because in 2022, there is no form of nagging I did not collect during the ASU strike. Please, Amira, help us with this question.
Um, Elishawa, okay. So I would be answering your question. I want to assume you probably stay with your parents at the moment, right? So, and I want to assume, I'm just based on assumption. You're free to speak, right? If you're a student or not. But personally, I think after I graduated, I moved out of my house, like of my parents' house. So that's the reason why I'll be using my own analogy, right? So I moved out because I was not doing anything. I was only taking care of people and people around, and it was not working for me. And the fact that I don't know how to make one naira was more annoying, and I just graduated, right? So I had to move out, and I don't even know. I moved out based on anger because I don't know where I was going. So I moved out. I started baking, and of course, I just call home once in a while. I do the little things I can do, and then before I finally transition into tech. Now, the thing is, how do you convince your parent to support you? My dear, you can't convince a Nigerian parent that sent you to school for 4 years or 5 years or 7 years to support a tech career if naturally they are not a supportive kind of parent, or if naturally they are not a kind of parents that are probably tech inclined. So your parents might not be tech inclined, but they might be naturally supportive, like anything my child wants to do. But if you have a kind of parent that, this doctor, you must do it. This nurse, like my mom, this nursing, you must nurse it. Now, that was kind of more that I had. And fortunately enough for me, I moved out early, immediately after school, because I know I had to like go, not like they chased me away, but I had to like go find something for myself. And I think I didn't have to prove anything to anyone because nobody was calling me and asking me, what are you doing with your life? So I had to find a way of making money, and then I transitioned into tech. And then when they knew that I was back to my tech thing, I was sharing a story with my colleagues about how I loved using computers, but my parents were not supportive of it. And then the old dream was just died there when I was so young. Right now that I'm back to it, and then they see me like anytime I go home, I'm always in my room, I'm always on my computer. They don't question it, right? That's because I've made something out of it. So the respect is there. The support part from my own end is there. So my own point is quite dependent on kind of parents you have. So if you have a parents that naturally they are not supportive, you have to prove to them that, oh, this thing is making me money, or with the little you're earning, right? Even if you cannot like take care of your parents, you're doing one or two things for your siblings, or you're doing one or two things for your parent. That way they are not going to question you. But if you have parents that or if you're in a situation whereby you're not making money yet from tech, you're just starting, you're in school, it might be really hard. Sincerely, it might be really hard unless your parents are naturally supportive people. Or most another way is, I don't know if this would work, it's just an advice, is calling the softer one, right? And talking to this person like, oh, this is what I want, this is what I want to do, this is what I like to do. Would you like to support me? Now, I'm saying this is based on your whatever situation. You can use whatever method depending on your situation. But at the end of the day, the only way to convince someone that this is what I want to do is if you show them your seriousness, if you show them, even if you're not making money from it, your seriousness is your commitment to it. I think that's the right word. Your commitment would make them see from your own point of view. You can't tell me that I sent you to school. Even me, if I'm a parent, I can't send you to school and do doctor. You now came back with laptop. You're not doing laptop. You're not focusing on laptop. But then you're also not serious with that laptop. I just see you go up and down the laptop. I'm going to question you. Are you wasting my money in school? What do you want to do with your life exactly? Right? I'm really going to question it. Yeah. So choose or do what is wise depending on the kind of situation you have at hand, actually. So I think that would be my advice for you.
Okay, thank you so much, Amira. And I would also love to respond to that question. So there's something I used to tell some friends, that there's a kind of love that you receive from home that you can only get from a distance. So Amira says she moved out, and I can quite relate because I started working in tech around my 200 level period, and it was a struggle in the house. Like, you're trying to concentrate on something, and you have been called, you go out, you buy crayfish, you come back, you buy pepper. Like, as you're just going back and forth like that, you'll not be able to focus. So I had to move to the hostel, and I occasionally visited home. When I started earning, I started sending like monthly stipends for, let's say, airtime, data, and other things. And like you said as well, your commitment, and I would love to add your results. So when they see that this thing that you're actually learning is maybe sponsoring you through school, or is taking you outside your city, or even outside your country, or to places, there's going to be like a big cap of respect that. You can also try talking to the softer parents and the parent that is more liable to be supportive, to explain the vision to them, and also assure them that you're not going to allow your interest in tech to compromise your educational part, because most parents are concerned about that. So I will just throw the next question to Bella, which is in the chat. So the person asked, concerning jobs, what are good platforms, or how does one land one? Platforms like Upwork aren't ideal because you might not see jobs for a while and you may end up seeing just one, then none at all. Being active and putting your work out there is one thing, but how do I make sure my work gets to employers and recruiters?
Hmm. Okay. Hi, Daniel. Thank you so much for that question. So, um, well, sorry to say, right? Job platforms no longer work. It works to some extent, maybe by 10%, but it doesn't really work. And here's the logic behind it. When you apply for jobs via job platforms, you know, let's say you like Upwork, for instance. Upwork is a freelance platform, not necessarily a place where people post jobs, that you can actually join a company full time. Majority of the people that post on Upwork are mostly freelance and short-term contracts, right? But actual job platforms, you might see lots of job postings and then you apply. Now, imagine 10,000 other people or 2,000 other people applying for the same job. There are zero to very little chances of you getting that job, right? That's why I'm saying, to start with, job platforms no longer really work. And I can't really say, oh, this is a good one, or this is, I mean, I can give you a list of job platforms if you want, right? But that will not guarantee that you're going to get a job. Now, what has worked for me personally has worked for my friends and every other person that I have said this to, is for you to, first of all, cold email and apply strategically. Now, what I mean by strategically, let's say you are a product designer, for instance, and you want to apply for a job. Let's say you're a product designer, for instance, and you want to apply for a job. You know, instead of you to see maybe a LinkedIn job posting or a job posting on a website and you start applying, what I would say you do is pick up the name of that company that is hiring, right? If it's on a third party job platform, pick up the name of that company and search for their website. Go to their careers page. Are they actually hiring or not? By the time you discover that, look out for the people that are working in that company. It could be the CEO, could be the hiring manager, could be a product designer, could be the design manager, it could be the resource person. Look for important people that are working in that organization and send them a message, right? So you're not just sending them a message to tell them, oh, I saw this job posting, how do I apply? Or, oh, I saw this job posting, I want to apply. You're sending them a message, first of all, to get that connection. Secondly, to try to understand how that company is, because trust me, you might see very juicy offers out there and you get into the company and you're seeing premium shege. I know of a popular designer that a company relocated out of the country. Like, that really happens. This company literally paid for all her expenses, took her from Nigeria to the UK for her to go work as a design manager, only for her to discover that the workplace was so toxic and she had to make that hard decision of leaving that company. So imagine a company that brought you, gave you visa and everything, and you ended up leaving that company and you're still in that country. That's a very crazy risk, right? So one of the things that helps, look out for people that are working in that company, reach out to them, let them know your interests, right? And also try to understand the work culture of that company. Half the time, most of these companies offer bonuses for employees that give referrals. So imagine my company is hiring and we have a job posting place where we've posted this job, and then someone wants to apply. You probably applied, you want to work in the company, you've applied, and then
maybe ID also wants to work in the same company, and she comes to me directly, oh Bella, I'd like to, learn about this role. Can you give me a direct referral? Right now, being that I am already in the company, I'm working there, I'm already in the system, I kind of understand what that role entails, and I'll be able to know if ID can fit into that role or not. Or even if I don't know, as someone who is already employed by that company, I can give a direct referral, to say, oh, I have this person. Her name is ID. She's a community manager and she's really skilled. She'll be a great addition to the team. Now, I don't even need to ask you because you know the answer to yourself. For yourself, who do you think the company would most likely pick, right? It's going to be someone that I have referred because on the other hand, I will not only enjoy the bonus when she eventually gets hired because, she also needs to pass the interview and stuff like that. So, what I would say you do instead of looking out for good job platforms, when you see a job posting, look out for the company, look out for the people that are working in that company, reach out to them. You're also going to apply, but then you still reach out to them. It's more like a two-factor authentication kind of a thing. So you reach out to them, let them know that, oh, you've applied, you like to work in the company, and then you go ahead to ask questions about these companies. And then a second thing that works outside of job platforms is for you to actually search for these skills. So again, I'm going to use product design because that's the longest industry I've worked in outside of community management. So I use product design a lot. So let's say you want to search for product design jobs. You can go on LinkedIn or you can go on Twitter or anywhere basically. I think nowadays companies have started hiring from other platforms like Instagram and even TikTok, right? But the two popular ones, LinkedIn and Twitter. You can go on LinkedIn and search using these keywords, hiring a product designer, or I'm hiring, or we are hiring. Those keywords would help you see posts that people have made. Those are actually the best ones to apply to because you get to see where they posted it and you can actually either comment or reach out to them directly. So when you make those search, like we're hiring, I'm hiring, our company is hiring, and then you can add the skill product design or marketing or community manager. You can just put in different keywords like that and then you filter the post and then you apply. That way you have a higher chance because you're applying to this job that they just posted, right? Now let me give you another scenario. There was a time I saw, I don't know if you know, there's this job application platform, Well Found. There is Well Found and other ones, but I saw the role of a community manager at Interaction Design Foundation. And being a designer, I've used Interaction Design Foundation for most of the learnings, most of the things I needed to do at the time. So I am somewhat affiliated with the company, or so I thought. So I applied to be a community manager at Well Found. And for some reason, I decided to send an email. So I sent an email. Now, mind you, when I saw this post, it said like posted 2 weeks ago. So to me, it's still a bit fresh because some hiring takes like 6 weeks, sometimes 6 months or more to actually finish an entire interview process, right? So I saw this posted 2 weeks ago. So I applied and I also sent an email to the hiring manager. But guess what happened? I got an email response the following day telling me that the role had been filled. First of all, it was a heartbreaker, but then on Well Found, I still did not get an update. Like it was pending until a month after they now sent a message to say, oh, sorry, we're no longer taking applications for this role. It has been filled. Right. So imagine I was waiting on that application on Well Found. I would have probably been waiting for a very long time. Oh, I have applied for this job. I'm waiting for them to respond to me, right? And then they end up not responding, not knowing that it was already filled up by the time I applied, right? So not necessarily the job platforms. I can send like a comprehensive list of job platforms. I'll probably share that with ID and she's going to share it with the community because it also works. I know I've missed a job one time because I wasn't active. well found. I think the previous name was Angel List or something like that. There was a time I was constantly applying for jobs, apply, and then I gave up because of the um the rejection letters I was getting. So I didn't even log into my profile again, only for me to probably get that vibe back. And I decided to start applying for jobs again, only for me to discover that about a month ago, a recruiter reached out to me and wanted me to join their company. I felt so bad. I literally felt like crying. I've been looking for jobs all this while, and then just when I gave up, someone came to hire me and I wasn't available to take on that job. So it also works. I'm not saying that it doesn't work. You can try job platforms, but um those two things, having to search on the timeline and then reaching out to people that are already working in that company is what I think would really help you, Daniel. But then I'm still going to send a list. So yeah, that could serve as a backup. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Bella and Daniel. If you're still on this call, I hope you got clarity. Another thing I want to add to what Bella said is yes, employers now use social media to hire, because I've gotten like a job from LinkedIn. Or let me just say I got this job with teacher from LinkedIn, and I've gotten like two jobs on Instagram before. So please don't underrate any social media platform, and you don't have to be everywhere. Just pick a platform or two or three, build a profile, optimize your profile, build in public basically, and people are going to see you there and reach out to you if they need your services or your skills. I think that is all for the call, and I'm sincerely grateful for everyone that joined at one moment or the other. Oyi, Amira, Bella, Sewa, Daniel, um Blessing, and others on the call. I'm so sorry if I skipped your name. Ifoma, yeah, thank you. So I hope you have a lovely weekend, and please follow our speakers. Their LinkedIn URLs are in the chat box, and if you can't find them, you can find them on LinkedIn at Amira Oyegoke and Mfonobong Umondia. So you can connect with them and ask them questions if you'd like to. And also, like I said earlier, eShare School will be relaunching, and I will share the update in the community. We're going to have other events that are super helpful like this and are going to help you in your tech career as you learn and grow. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in, and do have a lovely weekend. The recording will be put up on our YouTube channel and shared in the community. Thank you and good night.